Deputy Brendan Smith, 30 seconds to put your question.
Thank you, Oireachtas. Minister, I have raised with you through correspondence and through parliamentary questions the total opposition of local communities in West Cavan to the proposal by Cavan Monaghan ETB to close St Bricken's College Belturbet and St Mogues College Bonby. Local committees did an exceptionally good work in seeking the views of the local communities in regard to the future second-level education in North West Cavan. They made detailed submissions to your department outlining very clearly that the people wanted to retain those schools. Unfortunately, not alone did they get a reply to those submissions, they didn't even get an acknowledgement. Thank you, Oireachtas.
I'd like to thank the Deputy for raising this issue. The Deputy is aware the decision-making authority for any amalgamation is the patron trustees of the schools, and this is subject to the approval of my department. Any proposed change involves extensive negotiations at local level and must be well planned and managed in a manner that accommodates the interests of students, parents, teachers, local communities and contributes to an inclusive education system. My department was not involved in these negotiations. I can confirm to the Deputy that the report received by my department dated the 11th of July 2019 from Cavan Monaghan Education and Training Board setting out the proposal to amalgamate both schools was analysed by officials in my department along with submissions from the groups referred to by the Deputy. In addition to considering the submissions received, officials in my department's Planning and Building Unit carried out an analysis of the current enrolment trends, intake patterns, future demographic demands and the current curriculum provision. The outcome of this analysis concluded that in the best interest of all stakeholders, the approval of a new school building to facilitate the amalgamation of the two existing schools was the best option. The two schools due to amalgamate will continue to operate from the existing school sites until a new school building is provided. It is envisaged that the construction phase for the new amalgamated school will be facilitated with investment available during the second half of the National Development Plan 2018 to 2027. The new amalgamated school will be built to the highest standards and will be compliant with Part L of the Building Regulations 2017. It will also provide the opportunity for the school to have a fully equipped PE hall facility with fitness suite together with provision of accommodation to meet special education needs in West Cavan at post-primary level.
I thank the Minister for his reply, and I must say it's most disappointing. It's literally a rehash of what I have got in written PQ replies over the past few months. Minister, I doubt the veracity or the provenance of the analysis done by your department in respect of the submissions made to them. Those submissions coming from St Mogues College, from committees representative of the school community in St Mogues College Bonby and in St Bricken's College Belturbet, those detailed submissions were not even acknowledged by your office or by your department. Not alone could I accept that they were analysed in detail when they weren't even acknowledged. Minister, I had an understanding from you that you would meet with the group. Unfortunately, that commitment wasn't honoured. In correspondence to your office, when those groups sought a meeting, they said if it wasn't possible to meet with your good self due to time constraints at that time, could they meet with a senior or official or officials? Those requests weren't even acknowledged. Minister, do you stand over that type of governance by your department and maladministration? Because I think it's absolutely deplorable. If we have volunteers doing excellent research, doing it through public meetings, through online and through questionnaires, and they outline that information and put it in a comprehensive fashion, the department is not even acknowledged. Minister, I don't accept that it was properly analysed if it wasn't even acknowledged.
Thank you. Minister.
It's very important to put on the record of the House here that my department does not and did not make that decision. It was the responsibility of the patron. The patron advised that an invitation to consultation meetings was forwarded to the boards of management of both schools in question and to all representative groups identified in both communities. In total, 11 groups were identified and meetings arranged between February and July 2019. The patron advised that the majority of the meetings proceeded and the majority views taken into consideration. A small number of meetings were cancelled by the groups association concerned and did not proceed. What I did, Deputy, with your intervention, and we've had informal conversations around this, and I always took your bona fides on board and your representation seriously. There was an urgency to come up with a decision around this. I asked for this not to happen. We had conversations, I think, in January, February, March of this year. The letter didn't. I ensured that my message to my officials, and this is through your own intervention, that time was given, the consultation was provided, but it wasn't consultation through my department, it was through the patron, and obviously once that letter came in, a decision had to be made then.
Thank you,
but
Minister.
Also it's important to point out, this is not about closing schools, this is amalgamation. This is about strengthening of a school, and this is also trying to find out better ways of ensuring that students in West Cavan stay in West Cavan rather than going to other schools.
Deputy.
Minister, you have now admitted that the department made the decision before the new ETB would meet. And that's the suspicion in the local communities, and you have confirmed that now. The decision came out at the end of August, just days before the new ETB was about to meet, where they might take a different opinion. Minister, the consultations that you quote and that your department cite took place after the decision was made by the ETB. There was not proper consultation. And Minister, will you stand over not implementing the recommendations of the Action Plan for Education 2019, and I quote, "To protect the sustainability and viability of rural communities, we will not close any small school without the consent of parents. Existing support schemes will remain open for new infrastructure investment in schools." And indeed, your Minister of State, Mary Mitchell-O'Connor, in reply to a topic issue debate to me, stated, and I quote, "Any proposed changes must be well planned and managed in a manner that accommodates the interests of parents, teachers and local communities and contributes to an inclusive education system. If I may add, students' views must be also taken into account. Any proposals are then subject to the approval of the Department of Education and Skills." That modus operandi and that policy that's laid down in successive policy statements and strategies by your department in regard to how amalgamation should take place has not been adhered to in relation to this particular decision approved by yourself and coming from the ETB. Minister, it's not acceptable, and the two local school communities will not accept the decision that has been made.
Minister, to conclude, please.
Okay, just finally, look, it is my understanding that St Mogues College Parents Association were due to meet the patron in February 2019. This was cancelled at the request of the Parents Association until an architectural assessment of the current building was carried out. Following this assessment, another meeting was scheduled for the end of June 2019. It is my understanding this meeting was subsequently cancelled by the Parents Association on the 24th of June. Meetings were scheduled for the end of June 2019, early July 2019 with both Belturbet and Bonboy community groups. It is my understanding that both of these meetings were cancelled by the community groups. However, I believe both groups submitted the written response to that architectural assessment to the patron. I just want to emphasise once again that the patron makes the decision, not the department.